Well, happy December 26th, everyone. Yes, I know the day after Christmas. I got to tell you, um, you've seen all over our house during these devotionals, and Melanie hates it when I bring you into a room like this. But you know what? This is the reality of the situation after Christmas, right? I mean, all the packages have been unwrapped, and some of that has been put away, but you still got all of those decorations. Now, we're still a couple weeks away from coming into this room and putting all the decorations away, but I know it's going to happen. And that's kind of the way it is sometimes. December 26th is kind of like, here we are, all the big festivities over. Yeah, I know we got New Year's, but there's something about Christmas. We feel like we're on the other side. And what is December 26th? Hang on. I'm going to tell you a little secret, but we have a very special woman in our church. Some of you know her. Her name is Nancy, and she is our clerk of session, and it's her birthday today. So make sure you wish her a happy birthday, right? Don't tell her I said this, though, okay? It's her birthday, so it's a good day to celebrate. Anyway, so what do we do after Christmas? I mean, what happens after all that happens during Christmas? There is kind of that sense of letdown, I think, for a lot of us. But that shouldn't be so. It's interesting, as I was reading the Christmas story, and I read it oftentimes throughout the season, and I know we had these great celebrations of hearing this story. There are certain passages of scriptures that kind of get forgotten, and one of them is what happens after Christmas. So basically, we walk through that story. Jesus is born. He's laid in a manger. The shepherds come. They return home. Mary holds all this in her heart. Mary and Joseph take Jesus to Jerusalem, which is really close to Bethlehem. There he is circumcised, and he goes through all the rituals that he's supposed to go through as a young child. And then in verse 39, and this is the part of chapter 2 that often gets missed, it says this. In chapter 2, verse 39, it says this: when they, that's Mary and Joseph and now the baby, had finished everything required of them by the law, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. The child, that's Jesus, grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favor of God was upon him. Now, again, this passage of scripture doesn't get focused on a lot because it's what happens after the big event, and it's what happens before Jesus goes back to the temple when he's 12, and so this one just kind of gets ignored. But that is such an important verse, because what it talks about is what needs to happen after Christmas. That the event that we just celebrate, that the thing that we had just experienced, that the joy of the season, the time with family, the connections that we made, that is part of what needs to be the catalyst that takes us on into the new year. And for Jesus, all these things that Mary and Joseph experienced, all that happened on their trip from Nazareth down to Bethlehem, and what happened in the temple when Jesus was consecrated, everything that happened with the shepherds and them telling about the angels, all of that was vitally important. But if it's just packed up into boxes, put away till the next year so we can celebrate that again, that's not the kind of cycle that we need to get ourselves into. No, what happens with Jesus is when they return back to their hometown, Jesus grows and matures. And he grows not only in the favor of those who are around him, but also in the favor and the recognition of his God. He begins the process of learning about who God is and what God is all about. Now, that's a hard concept for us to understand because we believe that Jesus is God in human form. But because Jesus took on all that was human, Jesus needed to go through that same process of being able to come into the knowledge of who God is. And that's what Mary and Joseph do for Jesus after his birth, after all of those things that took place that we just celebrated. What needs to happen for us? I mean, we are on the other side of Christmas. What needs to happen for us? What places in our lives need to grow and mature? What things do we need to embrace on this other side of Christmas? Don't let it just be a holiday that gets celebrated and packed up into boxes. Allow this day, allow that day to begin to move in your heart and in your mind, and allow it to help you mature in your understanding of who God is and how God has called us to live into this world. So, Merry 26th of December.